Okay, let's dive straight in. We're tackling the latest wave of football, transfer gossip, and club news.
Yeah, there's a whole stack of reports, rumors, whispers, you name it.
Exactly. And our job today is basically to cut through some of that noise.
Get to the really interesting stuff, the moves people are actually talking about.
Precisely. No long intro, let's just get right into the information.
Sounds good. The transfer window. It's always a bit wild, isn't it? Speculation everywhere.
It really is. And these sources, they give us a pretty interesting snapshot, I think. It's not just names, there's strategy, money, history involved.
Right. So where do we start? Blockbuster moves, big money.
Yeah, let's start there. That always grabs the headlines.
Yeah.
First name that pops up is Viktor Gyokeres, Sporting's Swedish forward.
Ah, yes, the TalkSport report saying he's potentially open to linking back up with Ruben Amorim.
And that's the interesting bit, isn't it? Not just the player, but the manager connection.
Especially with all the talk around Amorim and, well, Manchester United potentially.
Exactly. When you hear a player is open to joining a specific manager they've worked well with before, it feels a bit more, I don't know, credible.
It does. It suggests there's a relationship there,
Yeah.
Trust, understanding of the system. It makes the gossip feel less random.
Yeah, less like just throwing names at a wall. It feels like a calculated possibility, maybe. If the money works, of course.
Money always talks. And speaking of big names and big money, Viktor Osimhen, he's always in the conversation.
Napoli striker. Fabrizio Romano's got a very specific report on a bid for him, apparently.
He does, and this one really highlights the Saudi Pro League factor again.
Still making waves, then.
Definitely. According to Romano, Al Hilal, the Saudi club, has reportedly put in a bid.
Okay, what are the numbers?
We're talking £55 million, plus another potential $4 million in add-ons.
Wow. $55 million up front, plus add-ons for Osimhen.
That's the report. It's a massive sum. Shows his standing, obviously, but also the financial power the Saudi clubs still have.
And they're not just going for players at the end of their careers anymore, are they? Osimhen's what, 26? Prime age.
Exactly. They're targeting top-tier players, willing to pay huge fees, competing directly with European clubs.
It certainly sets a benchmark, doesn't it? Whether Napoli bites or not, that's the kind of level Al Hilal are operating at for him.
It's a clear signal. Serious intent.
Okay, let's stick with potential big moves, and Manchester United seem to be involved again. Brian Mbeumo at Brentford.
Yeah, the Independent reports United made an initial approach for him.
Right, what was the offer?
Reportedly, £45 million plus $10 million in add-ons for the Cameroon forward.
Okay, decent sum, but...
But Brentford apparently said no, straight away. Rejected it.
Oh. Holding out for more.
Seems like it. The report suggests they want north of £60 million.
60 million plus. So that's, what, a 15 million difference minimum right off the bat.
Yeah, a significant gap. That's not just haggling, is it? That's two very different valuations.
Shows how much Brentford value him, I suppose.
Okay.
He's crucial for them.
He is. Goals, assists, versatility. They know what they have. Brentford are pretty smart operators,
They're signaling he's a premium asset to them. Pay up if you really want him.
Exactly. That kind of gap makes you wonder how easily that deal gets done, if at all. It'll be tough negotiation.
Okay, so we've touched on some potentially huge deals. What about clubs sort of casting their nets a bit wider?
Yeah.
Arsenal seem to be looking at a few different types of players.
Yeah, the Times has them linked with a couple of names.
Who are they?
Aston Villa's winger, Morgan Rogers English, 22 years old, and also Igor Paixo, the Brazilian forward at Feyenoord. He's 24.
Rogers and Paixo. Okay, interesting. Young, talented, maybe not the huge marquee names some might expect.
Perhaps seen more as potential, maybe developmental signings. But then...
There's another layer.
Yeah, Sky Sports throws another name into the mix for Arsenal. Rodrigo from Real Madrid.
Rodrigo, the Brazilian winger at Real. Now that feels different.
Completely different. You've got Rogers and Paixão on one hand, younger, less established maybe, then Rodrigo, established star at arguably the biggest club in the world.
So what does that tell us about Arsenal's strategy? Are they aiming high with Rodrigo, maybe testing the waters after Real's other signings?
Could be. Or maybe Rogers and Paixão are the more, let's say, realistic targets, and Rodrigo is the ambitious what-if.
A tiered approach. Aim for the stars, but have backup plans.
It makes sense, right? Exploring multiple avenues, different levels of ambition, different price points, managing risk.
It really shows how these top clubs work, doesn't it? It's never just plan A.
Never. Always lists within lists. contingencies.
What about Chelsea? Sky Sports mentioned their top target.
Yeah, apparently they're still very much focused on young talent, especially English talent.
And the name.
Jamie Gittins, Borussia Dortmund's winger. He's only 20, English.
Gittins. Okay, that fits the profile we've seen from Chelsea lately, doesn't it? Young, high potential, future value.
Very much so. Seems to be a consistent strategy under the current ownership.
Right, okay. Let's shift from clubs targeting players to players whose own situations might be, well, a bit uncertain. João Paulinho at Bayern Munich.
Yeah, Sky Sports Germany has a report on him, the Portugal midfielder.
What's the situation there? Not getting much game time?
Apparently, yeah. Struggled for consistent first-team football since he joined. The report says he wants to stay, wants to fight for his place.
What?
But if things don't change, if he's still not playing regularly, the suggestion is he might look to leave.
The classic scenario. Big move, big club, but maybe not the right fit immediately or just fierce competition.
Exactly. And for a player like Paulinho, a regular international,
Yeah.
sitting on the bench isn't ideal. He needs minutes.
Not just for himself, but for his international place, his value, all of that.
Precisely. So even if he likes the club, the lack of football can force his hand. It shows a transfer isn't just about the fee. It has to work on the pitch, too.
Absolutely. Player necessity often drives these things, doesn't it? Need for game time.
It really does. Okay, another situation. And this one brings back that manager connection theme we saw with Gyokeres. Antony at Manchester United.
Oh, yeah. What's the story there?
Sky Germany reporting that Erik ten Hag, now at Bayer Leverkusen, is keeping tabs on Antony. Ten Hag signed him for United from Ajax, remember?
Of course. So another potential reunion. Manager trusts the player, knows what he can do.
Seems like it. For Antony, who's had a, let's say, difficult time at United.
Understatement, maybe.
Well, yeah. This could be a potential way out, couldn't it? A fresh start under a manager who presumably still rates him.
Yeah.
If Leverkusen push for it and United are willing.
It makes sense. Managers often go back to players they know. Less risk involved sometimes.
Yeah, they're a known quantity. Understand the methods, can sometimes integrate faster.
Okay, what about someone maybe getting a second chance where they are Manor Solomon at Spurs?
Yeah, the Sun has a piece on him, the Israeli winger, 25.
He was out on loan last season, wasn't he, at Leeds?
That's right. And the report says he impressed enough there that he's set for another chance, an opportunity to make his mark back at Tottenham this time.
That's good to hear. A positive story for a change.
Yeah, player goes away, does well, earns their spot back, shows loans can actually work as a pathway back.
And it's cost-effective for the club, too, right? Using talent they already own.
Absolutely. If he proves he's got the quality they need now, it's a win-win if it works out.
Okay, and one more player situation? Again, involving a manager link and, again, the Saudi Pro League. Francesco Acerbi.
The Inter Milan defender. Veteran Italian international, 37 years old.
Right. What's the potential move?
Florian Plettenberg is reporting he could potentially follow his former Inter manager, Simone Inzaghi.
To Al Hilal. The same club reportedly bidding for Osimhen.
The very same. So Al Hilal possibly looking at a prime-age striker and an experienced, older defender.
That suggests a bit more strategy than just collecting flashy names, maybe. Adding experience, leadership, someone the manager trusts implicitly.
Could be. It shows they're potentially building a squad with different profiles. And again, leveraging those existing relationships. Acerbi knows Inzaghi's system inside out.
It reinforces that point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Relationships matter. And the Saudi League isn't just about youth. Experienced pros are valued too.
Definitely. For leadership, know-how, consistency.
All of this talk about players moving. But there's also a snippet about a manager situation. Ange Postecoglou at Tottenham.
Yeah, the Telegraph has a detail about his contract, specifically the cost if Spurs were to part ways.
The compensation figure. Always an interesting detail.
Reportedly, it would cost Tottenham £4 million in compensation if they decided to sack him.
$4 million. Okay, not astronomical in football terms, but still a significant sum.
It is, and it highlights the financial side of these managerial contracts, doesn't it? There's a cost to making a change baked into the deal.
A fact the board always has to consider, right? Beyond just results or fan pressure, there's a financial penalty.
Exactly. It's part of the calculation. By the way, if you want to check out the sources for these stories and more details, you can find links over at EPLNews.org.
Good point. So looking back at all these different pieces, the blockbusters, the targets, the player situations, even the manager contract stuff, what are the main themes you see emerging?
Well, the Saudi Pro League's influence is definitely still strong and attracting different types of players now.
Yeah, young stars and veterans.
Right. And that manager-player connection thing keeps popping up, doesn't it? Viktor Amorim, Anthony Ten Hag, Sobian Inzaghi.
It really does. Familiarity and trust seem key drivers.
Then you've got the hard negotiating, like that Mbemo valuation gap. Shows how clubs value their own assets.
And the different strategies, Arsenal's potential tiered approach, Chelsea's youth focus, Spurs maybe using the loan system effectively.
It's a real mix, and it all comes filtered through these sources: TalkSport, Sky, Romano, The Independent, Plettenberg, the newspapers.
Which kind of reveals the whole ecosystem, doesn't it? Agents, journalists, club insiders, all feeding this information cycle.
Yeah, it's a constant flow. Some of it's strategic leaks, some genuine inside info, some, well, maybe just pure speculation. It's a complex game off the pitch, too.
So why should you, listening to this, actually care about all this transfer chatter? What's the point?
Well, I mean, it's the lifeblood of the offseason, isn't it? It gives you clues about your club's ambitions, their financial state.
Who might be coming in to strengthen the team, who might be leaving?
Exactly. It directly affects the team you support, the players you watch every week. It's about understanding the churn, the changes, the forces shaping the game.
It really is. The anticipation, the arguments about whether a player's worth the fee, it keeps fans engaged all summer. It's a glimpse behind the curtain.
A very busy, sometimes confusing glimpse.
Yeah. Well, this has been a snapshot, hasn't it? Just a taste of how intense and fast-moving this world of football gossip is. And remember, these news stories are available to read over at EPLNews.org.
It's a world where rumor is king until that official confirmation drops.
Absolutely. So, maybe a final thought for you to consider. Looking at everything we've just discussed, the big bids, the whispers, the player situations, how much of it do you actually think will happen?
Yeah, what percentage of these reported moves will actually cross the line this summer?
And maybe think about how this constant whirlwind of rumor affects everyone involved, the clubs trying to plan, the players whose futures are being debated, and us fans hanging on every update.
It's a fascinating part of modern football, whether you love it or hate it. The speculation machine.
Indeed. It's the potential that keeps us all hooked.
Don't forget, you can find these news stories and more detailed reports at EPLnews.org.